Hi Graham. So we'll just go through that driver first of all. So the first drive you hit is this on the left, which is this one, and then the second one on the right hand side. So key sort of points we talked about. Setup's good. Wouldn't really change anything here. But you can see again just that initial movement away from the ball, just zero sort of hip turn there. So what you'll start to see as the club wants to go further and further back, you've now got to do something. You've got to create a lever to get the club further back. So the right arm starts to break, the wrists will start to break, so everything breaks very, very early. Again, the left arm starts to work very tight on the chest because there's zero rotation in the hip. So again, very, very difficult for you to rotate your shoulders or your upper torso from that. So swing gets quite sort of short. Club again is in a good position, but just a struggle really now to get back to the ball in a decent position. You're trying to create some speed, so you can see you really kind of go at it. Hands work away from you to try and keep the pitch of the shaft back. Really start to move into your toes again, so pushing the pelvis forward. So you work a lot off here again in an effort to try and keep everything or the club behind you. Face again gets quite open here, and obviously just quite a sort of a slicey swing. So if we move to the one on the right now, initial thoughts, you can see how the hips start to turn, hands get a much more behind you, much bigger shoulder turn. So again, if we go to the top, this is the top of the swing versus top of the swing on the right. So you can see we've got some daylight here, because again you've got yourself behind the ball, a little bit of daylight behind the hips, and then on the way down much easier because you've got that depth to keep the head tracking behind the hands, so we can get a club path that works to the right. So just keeping it simple to start off with and trying to replicate this and make this the swing on the course, if you like. So if we go back to the start, and obviously the short stuff that we talked about, I'm just going to try and find this quickly. This was one of the short ones. I don't think I've got your real first one from the chipping. But again, you can see it's quite leftward with that path. So we just talked about getting the head of the club a little bit more inside the hands for the short chips. And again, let's see if I've got one here. This was quite a good one. You can now see the difference. Yeah. So this is more than enough for a 20-yard sort of chip. So you get very much a feeling of up and down. So this is good in terms of path. This is nice. Still a little bit leftward, but really think about the length of the swing. Just getting the head to sit slightly behind the hands for the short shots, and then the hand path movement is very much to the right. It's probably easier to feel the downswing movement, feeling that your hands move out to the right, as opposed to almost trying to feel that the club head moves out to the right, to keep that path a little bit more neutral. But obviously for you need to feel that it drifts out or moves out in that direction. And then just going back to the sort of front ones, go with the driver. Yeah. You can maybe experiment. I mean, you probably don't need to be that wide with a drive. You can bring it a little bit down. But I quite like this. This is why I hit it so far. Real kind of push into that left side very early. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Again. Wouldn't change too much there. Obviously we just talked about getting that shoulder turn a little bit more. But again, as the hips start to release and go a bit more behind you, you'll get that. So yeah, all in all, some really good stuff. If you've got any questions, by all means, just let me know. But great.